He is the great Z. Welcome into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio. How you living, buddy?
I'm doing great. Having a fireside chat with my my best mate. I mean, what could be better?
Do you want me to turn it on?
You're out here.
I think you should, just for the visual of it.
For the visual of it, for the people.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, we're this is great, thriving. Right as of now, both eyes functional, so it feels good.
At some point before this, our time here in the undisclosed location is over, we need to do this show in a smoking jacket and an ascot.
I have no problem with that.
In front of the fire. Good job, Eddie.
I have no problem with that.
That's,
before the Rager you proposed.
Yeah, well, I think this feels like a perfect place to hold a Rager.
Yeah.
What's the movie with Seth Rogen and where they do that? They have the Rager. He's like the married couple with the young kid, and then the
neighbors
moves in.
The neighbors.
Is it the neighbors?
I think so.
That could be it.
I know. And
Zac
Franco.
Efron.
Zac Efron and the younger Franco.
Yeah. So
great film.
That is a great.
It's really good.
It
holds up.
That might have been like the last of the. There was those R-rated comedies that started with like Wedding Crashers. It maybe ended there.
Yep.
Because I don't think they make those anymore. But there was like a 15-year period where they made them, and that might have been the last one of those that happened.
It was good.
Superbad and all those were in there.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. I think we could do that here. There's that type of vibe. The other thing that we have at this undisclosed location is kind of like a cul-de-sac within a cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
which is a rarity.
Yeah, to
have two cul-de-sacs stacking on top of one another. No.
You're not leaving. This is the dream team. It's the starting five right here.
I mean, there's a Baco Nation that needs to be represented. Yep. Where are you going to go?
Your character, B. Orlando Ledbetter, got a shout out again yesterday. Yeah, he's doing well. We got Baco here. We got Yellowstone.
Yellowstone Drew is here.
Yellowstone Drew.
Still haven't began.
I have to, and we have to. I have to.
Oh, hello, Gibbe.
I might have made a disparaging comment about the stream not being up yesterday, and Yellowstone was listening, and it had nothing to do with him.
Of course,
and
it
I
never
told
has
him
anything
that.
to do with him.
Gibbe, you
like,
got to start
there's
coming from a place of love and not living in a place of hate.
Shut up.
See?
That's where I'm at with you.
The negativity. The negativity right out of the gates.
My mom is furious with that comment.
Poor
no,
Nana.
she's not.
That is, you don't talk to people that way, Gibbe.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. So really, I need to apologize to the great Yellowstone because I know it has nothing to do with him.
Yep.
I appreciate all of his efforts. He literally built this contraption.
Yeah,
that is
quite good.
We are on the stream right now.
It's wonderful.
Look at this. We had this. By the way,
I apologize to my good friend. And
I'd like my apology next, but
never.
None of this that you're looking at.
Yeah.
None of this was here yesterday. Not one piece of any of this.
All of this happened.
Yes.
Between last evening and
betwixt
this morning.
Yesterday's show
God,
and
great.
today's show.
I love a betwixt.
Me too.
Gibbe, can you turn me up just a little? There you go. Now you're talking. Now you're cooking with gas.
Good.
Oh, baby.
Is Drew aware that they have not even started filming Yellowstone? They
it's
haven't even
over.
shot any
Show's
of it?
done.
It feels like it's headed
Show's
that
done.
way.
It's over. We're never going to get
you
a
want
conclusion.
a headset Yellowstone?
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to. I think you will, but
He's
it's going to
working
be
on
a
some
minute.
Chipotle.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a minute. Hey, I had an interesting conversation with NBC last night. The other two were going to bed, and I think I told you this yesterday. After all of the stuff was done on Saturday and all of the youth sports and all of it, and my wife and oldest were in Fort Wayne for basketball, I was left alone to my own devices.
Oh, baby.
By the time the boys, 9 o'clock. And so I had the hockey on one TV, wanted to see if the Maple Leafs could move on, and then I had I'm kind of in the mood to see Predator. I haven't seen Predator in a long time. Let's see what Schwarzenegger's up to. Like, I'm in. So grab it on. It's on the stream. It's on HBO. Watch Predator. Like, the opening of Predator is so great. You can't even wrap your head around those people getting off the chopper, all of it. So fast forward to last night. We're sitting there. The Littles were in bed, and NBC was sitting there. And I said, buddy, you got to see the first 20 minutes of Predator. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, just their approach to this, wherever they are in South America, getting off, Schwarzenegger with the cigar. Hold your questions, please. I'll get it to you in a second. And so as we're watching, I go, well, that's about all that you can watch. And he goes, Dad, why can't I watch more? I'm like, dude, you're not ready for Predator. Are you kidding me? You're not even close to ready for that. And he fires back to me. He goes, well, when did you see your first R-rated movie? And I thought, checkmate. For sure I'd seen it by then.
Yeah.
I'd seen Predator by 11. Predator came out in 87. So do the math on that one. I'd seen Rambo at that point. I definitely had seen First Blood.
Yeah.
What was the first R-rated movie you remember seeing?
Can you say on the air?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
No,
I mean,
R-rated.
I've seen all of those, and I saw all of those as they came out.
Young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right. Yeah, I think it was
The one, I mean,
I had to
my
be like
first
8 or 9 the first time I remember. I know the first one I saw was First Blood, and that came out in that was on VHS.
I mean, my first memory of an R-rated movie that I know for sure that I saw, and I don't even know what year it came out. I'd be curious to look that up. I actually will do that as I talk. Was the one that I first said. You said, "What's the first R-rated movie you remember seeing?" The first one I remember seeing was Basic Instinct.
Well, that is on a whole nother level.
But that's the way you said. First
Right.
thing that
But
popped
th-
into
but
my
that-
mind. But I
that's-
know I'd
there were
seen
two types.
I'd seen violent or science fiction,
correct.
Alien. Like I saw Alien when I was
Yeah.
young, and I was freaked out.
Yeah, and horror movies. There were a lot of horror. I would guess
1992.
I was going to say I would have guessed 91 on Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
So that was down the road. But
Still 13, 14.
yeah,
Not where
Yeah.
you're supposed to be.
no.
Certainly not.
But the violent ones, I think I started seeing probably at 9
yeah,
or
because
10.
they were corny 80s kind of violent. Although Predator is cool and scary. Alien was terrifying.
the
yeah.
Rambos are great.
Rambos are great.
Yeah,
I was
Commando's
playing.
great, all that's
I
good.
watched all of those movies because I remember I would play the video games. There was a great Rambo video game.
Yeah, there was that. Yeah, but that I think that stuff all came later. Like that's almost like Nintendo.
I remember being at my buddy Matt Davis's house, and that is definitely before I was in high school, and so
yeah, that's like middle school though. Like he's in 5th grade.
yeah.
But I think he has a point. I think it is time. Like for me to
I
give
think
him,
he can watch that. I think
he's no. I'm not
Right.
showing him Basic Instinct for God's
No,
sakes.
of
But
course
I think from a in that world, like I think it's time to show him Rambo.
Yeah.
Or show him a little bit of Predator.
It was also, I think, different then. I think that a lot of those movies and what is disclosed in those films is very different than I think what we even think of as our movies now, because the envelope has been pushed so far.
I mean, Predator is ultra violent
Ultra violent, yeah, but you
Yeah.
can say, listen, like
and pretty real. I mean, pretty from a realism
oh,
standpoint.
there are
the
some people
violence
that
is
are
pretty-
they're ripped right apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, disemboweled.
Yeah, you got a whole lot going on there.
For
You got a whole lot
sure.
going on. Okay, you had a question.
No, I wasn't even a question. I was going to drop a fact on you. So,
Okay.
Predator
Yep.
was filmed in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Same area that I want to say Night of the Iguanas was filmed, which was
Okay.
a classic film. And there's actually one of the towns you go to, one of the beach towns, you can take like a little hike back or a mule ride back or a horse ride,
I like
depending on your species of choice.
Yep.
And there's a cafe,
Okay.
and the cafe has the helicopter is like
Oh,
in
come
a
on.
couple of the trees, like suspended over, and that's kind of the backdrop of the cafe.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So I've eaten there because obviously Pedro was like, we got to see that.
Pedro's a big Predator guy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Predator restaurant, Puerto Vallarta, Canopy El Eden. Take a zip line there. Yeah, but this is it's the one. It's off of Miss Maloya. Here it is, Campo Paradise. Yeah, and they've got the whole thing. You got the helicopters in here, the whole deal. There's a Predator guy set up there.
That's pretty good.
It'll come when it comes through. I'll show you back. But yeah, so there's a restaurant you can go there and have it. So Predator, that's right where it was filmed. It's near Miss Maloya. Sure enough. So
That's
I've been
what
there
a
many times.
tidbit. Now that makes me feel like I need to go to Puerto Vallarta.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here's the restaurant over this like waterfall. It's great.
Look at that.
You get the waterfall. You get some Predator stuff. You get the helicopter. You can go do some sliding. Oh, there's a guy.
There he
He's
is.
eating. Oh yeah. Where's the helicopter? There's the back of it. Yeah, you get the whole deal.
Gosh, it's so great.
Oh, there he is. Predator stands on top of the helicopter, and you can walk up there,
Yeah.
and that's the one from the movie.
That's great.
Yeah, right?
The reveal of that thing's face is still pretty great and pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
That's the one that would, I think, he might not be ready for that.
To me, it's more his ability to cloak that makes him a real problem.
Dutch, as played by Arnie, or the actual Predator?
The actual Predator.
Yeah, the fact that is
Becomes
translucent,
invisible. Yeah.
that's a bit of a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
That's tough. That was
You
tough.
have to look and see maybe ripples in the trees, and you're
Right.
like, that's odd. And then by the time that happens,
Too late.
typically you're done.
Great arsenal of weaponry on him, too, the Predator had. Arnold was able to really snip it out with just covering himself in mud. And then some quickly made together bows and arrows.
I'm pretty sure Arnold is formidable, and also I'm not mistaken. I don't want to, because there's so many of this genre.
There's
Jesse the Body's in this, yeah,
dude.
Right?
The body is the first one off the chopper.
Yeah, he's the best.
The body's off. Billy Landham's in this movie. Bill Duke
man.
gets off in a suit.
Oh,
I mean, it's the most ridiculous opening scene you'll ever see.
Jesse the Body, got former governor of
two governors
in this film
in that chopper,
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Billy Landham ran for like governor in Oklahoma.
Oh man, and Carl Weathers. I mean, you got
Weathers
it all.
is
Weathers,
Dylan.
of course.
I mean, it's great. What a heater for Carl Weathers, coming off of dying in Rocky IV, straight into Predator.
Man. Oh God, I forgot how formidable Sonny Landham was.
Oh
Bill
gosh,
Landham.
he's terrifying.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
What a great cast.
It's an unbelievable cast.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable cast. All right, we hear from the undisclosed location. The team has begun the second phase of the offseason workouts. What exactly does that mean for the people?
Phase 2, 3 weeks, 4 hours a day. In addition to what you can do in Phase 1, you now can have all coaches allowed on the field. Individual and perfect play drills are allowed, and that means offense on air. We're going through things. Defense can play on air. No offense versus defense, no one-on-one, no helmets, but they can be in jerseys. They can get out there. They can get after it, which is, I think, pretty cool. So there is, again, coaches were not allowed out there at the beginning. It was just limited to strength and conditioning activities. Only strength and conditioning coaches were allowed on the field. And now you've got everybody out there. It's a little bit of going through the offense. It's a little bit of what this thing's going to look like now here for the Cleveland Browns. And quite frankly, I can tell you, coaches are excited about it. Players are excited about it. And this is kind of the first step to laying. These are the bottom bricks that are being laid, or the
foundation,
the cement that is being poured.
The footers,
baby.
The footers are being poured right now.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how that goes. Mr. Zagura.
The Dallas Cowboys could take note of what you're doing here today. A consistent theme in your navy blue. You have blue at all 3 levels. Same blue. You tie in some silver, tie in some white. I mean, you are doing the Cowboys better than the Cowboys today with your outfit.
I guess I am. It was unintended. In a way, intended in terms of, I guess.
Does it feel like an accident?
When I get up, I do think to myself, does this work?
Yep.
You know,
yep.
in some way. And I thought we could go business casual because we're here fireside chatting.
No doubt we are.
So, you didn't have to dress it up too much.
Well, and by the way, it's 30 degrees outside. I mean, that's why you're in a vest. I'm in a hoodie. It is freezing and rain. I don't even want to talk about it because it's too much.
Buddy Garrity looked at me this morning as we went out on the walk. And right before he was ready to take a dump, he looked at me, and I could tell that the emotion he had was one of disgust as he shook his fur and the rainy grossness came off. And I said, "You're not wrong, bud. You're not wrong."
Oh, no. Asa goes out, and then she thinks, can I pull a fast one?
Yep.
And just pretend that I've gone and get my morning treats.
Get my snacks, yeah.
And then I just look at her, I'm like, no. And she looks at me like, come on.
Really?
Get out there. Do it.
Get your job done.
And then come in. I do think that dogs' ability to, that shake that they do and the shake and twist where their whole body is like,
yeah,
to dry themselves off is really incredible.
It would be awesome out of the shower if you could do that.
Yeah, if you could just like have it's almost like your whole central nervous system goes completely haywire for a second, but in a very coordinated way.
All comes
and
down.
then they're dry.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Yeah, that is a good win. Brown's Therapy's done a fantastic job. He already has us superimposed in Predator. It's the picture of you looks just great.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, that's very good. Good job out of BT on
He's
that.
always good.
Yeah, that's incredible.
By the way, a little bit of official business.
Okay.
The Browns have indeed picked up the 5th-year option of Jed Wills. We've talked about that. It had been reported, but it is now officially official from our team.
Didn't we do that yesterday?
We did, but it wasn't officially official.
Oh, officially official. CH saying first R-rated movie he saw was Terminator 2.
Oh, I saw that
I think I saw that in the theater.
Same.
That was one that I was pretty sure I talked into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a particularly brutal death scene in that because that guy could – a lot of shape-shifting.
You mean the one where he just goes through the –
It's amazing, but we both did the same.
Through the mouth, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's how that sorts
Oh
itself
man,
out.
we look ferocious.
We
in
look
Predator.
good, right?
Yeah.
Gosh,
Gosh, your time in the gym is really working out for you.
it really is.
Great tan
really
on your
thriving.
body too.
Yeah, it's good. That one or the one where I'm superimposed over Bo Jackson and the Bo Nose. Those will be two highlights for me, certainly.
No
going
doubt.
Forward.
The only thing I would say is those pictures I don't think do your true physique justice. Other than that, I think they're both pretty good.
They're both pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Look, this is a little bit of a downtime. There's a lot to get to here. We are now into the offseason program, as we mentioned. You're going to the schedule release, which will be next week. That's next Friday on that. You're building towards minicamp, and then you're done for about a month, and then you're back to work. And that's the way it's going to go. And our summer will be even shorter because of the Hall of Fame game. So we know those things are happening as well.
And the Greenbrier, but of course.
Has that officially been official yet?
No.
Okay. There was one, we did get a tweet telling us that there's another place down there that I was unaware of. He sent me a picture of it.
It was something that it's
Omni
like the home of
Homestead.
Sam Snead.
Yeah.
or-
Yes.
Well,
yes,
but
it is.
The Greenbrier has all the Sam Snead stuff.
Yes.
In fact, one of the places is Sammy's.
Yeah, that's the
the
restaurant
down
over
by
the Old
club.
White.
Yeah, yeah. He goes, if
And
you
the Greenbrier. I mean, both courses kind of emanate from the same spot over that pool.
Right.
Yeah.
If you go to the Greenbrier, add a day and go to the real gem of the mountains, the Omni Homestead. 38 miles away, the home of Sam Snead. Fantastic courses and a way, way better resort. I don't know about that.
Listen,
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no.
I-
I mean, I was at the Greenbrier last year, so I know exactly what that is. I don't know. I would say that from
I don't know.
an ease to get to standpoint, it's tough, man.
It's a 5.5
Getting down there. And it's
hour
not an easy
mountain
5.5.
drive.
It is a mountain drive. When we did it last summer, it was in a downpour.
Yeah, not fun.
As soon as I crossed over the West Virginia line, it was a downpour. There are no
Go along
berms.
that river. Yeah.
There are no berms. Like the side of the road is the mountain.
Yeah.
So, like, at one point, you start to contemplate, like, a flat tire would be catastrophic.
Really
here.
problematic.
Yeah.
When we went to North Carolina in the height of COVID, and we drove there. That was our entree. That was an 8-hour drive. We basically did the drive to the Greenbrier for about 5, and it's like, oh, you still have 3 hours to go. Sweet.
Right.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love
Let's
it.
keep going.
Let's do this.
Keep going.
It still was a lovely time. By the way, this is just an aside, and I hope that, and I feel like, normally when people decide in an industry or something to move on from somebody,
Okay.
it's normally like, oh yeah, we thank you so much for your time here.
Eh.
We wish you well in your future endeavors. That's a big one with the WWE, obviously, but. I really enjoy what came out today because I find this guy to be about as unlikable an athlete since maybe the great Meat Cleaves.
Yeah.
That the Grizzlies have informed Dylan Brooks that, quote, he will not be brought back under any circumstances, which is, I feel like, just a great way to say thank you, no thank you.
I've never seen under any circumstances, like, you're not wanted.
No. We don't want you here.
Don't walk in the place. You're done.
Your key card's turned off.
Yeah.
There is no – you could play here for free. Not interested.
Not interested.
There are no set of
Nope.
circumstances.
Nope.
No.
I think that he, I believe I had this, that when you do not poke, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't poke LeBron James, man. You don't do it.
You don't do it. Well,
And so him do it, like, this has ended as poorly. Not only did he play terribly and his team be eliminated, and they were the 2 seed, mind you, but now his whole thing has spiraled.
He really blew it. He went for a you admire the swing, right?
You best hit.
When you come at the king,
You
best not miss.
No.
And he missed, and the king actually just dominated him because he is the king. So there you go.
Let's do a couple of minutes here on – do we have –
You have Mr. Brugler coming up in 10 minutes.
Oh, he's at 10. Okay, all right. We'll save that then. We'll take a look at some of the fifth-year options. Dane will join us in about 10 minutes, and we will go over where we ended up. And he already had a mock up for next year.
Yes.
Yes. By the
It's
way,
right to work.
it was a pretty good one for the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't know that it's – I think it's probably setting in for people what
What they
was.
did.
But it's also something I didn't realize when I initially discussed that trade on Friday was that the specificity of which Texans pick they traded. So they're getting Houston's pick, not our
ours.
pick.
Yes, of course.
But I didn't know that. Nobody knew that on Friday. That didn't come out till the weekend.
Yeah.
That they got the one. I was thinking they could, if you're Houston, you could fine. You can have Cleveland's. It's fine. That'll be mid-teens to 20. But no, we're going to take yours, and that's how that's going to go. So, yeah.
By the way, has there ever been a lame duck franchise quarterback earning gobs of money? Like, it feels like Kyler's now a lame duck franchise quarterback to me.
Well, I would if I were them, I would redshirt him.
Yeah, you don't play him at all.
I don't play him at all. Protect the asset.
And you get rid of DeAndre Hopkins.
Sure. And you try to flip him next year, or you get the King's ransom for number 1 overall, like 5 ones for Caleb Williams.
I think you try to send Kyler to, my guess is Miami. I don't see Tua making multiple seasons.
Yeah. Kyler do well in Atlanta, too.
Great, fine, but even better.
Even
NFC.
better, yeah. All right.
Bijan.
There you go. Ya boy. We'll get to all of that. Brugler in about 10 minutes, off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
We're here for the Cleveland Browns.
You're down.
World's best fans. We're University Hospital's Seidman Cancer Center, and we're here to intercept cancer at the earliest stages with the latest screenings, treatments, and innovations delivered by an experienced team of cancer specialists who are completely focused on developing a personalized game plan to get you back in the game. We're University Hospitals, and we're here for you. Learn more at uhhospitals.org/Browns.
Calling all Browns fans and dog lovers. Join the Barking Backers Club, the fan club for dogs. Presented by Milkbone in association with Embrace Pet Insurance. You'll get access to premium live events, and your furry companion will receive a membership kit that they'll love. Barking Backers is the ultimate fan club for dogs and the perfect way to show your love for your furry friend and for your Cleveland Browns. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com or on the Browns mobile app. But don't wait, spots are limited.
Hey, Mackenzie here for Ken Ganley Kia, an official partner of the Cleveland Browns. It's that time of year when the best of the best are chosen. Make your best choice Ken Ganley Kia, where you'll find over 700 new Kias at our best price and payment at all 4 Ken Ganley Kia regional superstores in Medina, Mentor, Boardman, and Alliance. Online at KenGanleyKia.com. I want to see ya in a Ken Ganley Kia.
Hear that? That's Ralphie, my poodle. And he's happy because he's about to get a piece of cheese. Yeah, there's a pill hiding in that piece of cheese, but Ralphie doesn't seem to mind. Cheese is cheese. I get all his medications at Discount Drug Mart because I know the Drug Mart pharmacy carries only the highest quality, from heartworm and flea to antibiotics and pain meds. And they're all at super low prices, so I can afford that fancy kibble he likes so much. And that makes me as happy as Ralphie. Thanks, Discount Drug Mart.
Bally Plays Dog Pound Predictor is the ultimate free game for Browns fans.
Loads up, going long. Peoples-Jones is out there.
Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready? You are up.
Wow.
If a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Fifth-year options. You okay? Everything good?
I'm excited. I'm thrilled to be. This to me is pure joy. You and I are sitting in very comfortable chairs.
These chairs are super comfy.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
They're great.
We're by the fire. We've got a little NFL Network on behind us. We're staring at the beautiful faces of Gibbe and Yellowstone Drew. I mean, what could be better right now?
With the weather. But other than that, it's a
but we're indoors currently.
That's true.
I mean, if the weather was nice,
we wouldn't want to be as
maybe
indoors
it's a
as we
patio
are.
party.
Well, that's true. Then maybe
we
do
need to
have
go
a
to
patio?
Uncle Victor's. No, Uncle Victor's got the patio.
Oh, we got a patio right here.
No. He has a deck.
We got a patio.
What do you need to have a patio?
To me, that looks
What's
like
the
grass.
square footage that's needed?
There's
have to have
there's a concrete slab right there.
But it's got to be
If
enough
I'm
to hold a
sitting
table
here,
and chairs.
It's
Sure.
not like that's 20 feet down. I'm sitting here and all I can see is grass. It can't be that big.
It's big enough for a table and chairs.
Oh, it goes.
It goes
yeah,
left.
it
All right,
goes
let's look
out.
the wrong way. Okay.
Got a nice view to it.
I mean,
That's lovely.
come mini camp week.
That'd be a win.
Yeah, just camp out.
Remember, undisclosed location, Gibby.
Yeah, whatever.
Undisclosed location. Last thing we need is our throngs of fans showing up here.
Breaking the door down.
Oh,
Can't have that.
boy, I bet they would.
They would. That's
Well,
why it's
especially
undisclosed.
if it's a mistaken identity situation and they're getting somebody else.
Jeez, you're getting all that juice.
Yeah. By the
That's
way,
a whole
quick
different
shout
thing.
out to Beechwood Dental was there today. Going to the dentist is something that most people don't enjoy. It's like going to an amusement park.
I got to get in.
It's
there.
an amusement park of dentists. I'm serious, and I'm not saying that that's not fluff. That is
Yeah.
for real. It is the best. Dr. Mickley and his crew, they hook you up. They take great care of you, and it's enjoyable and relaxing to go to the dentist. Now, when you come out of there and somebody recognizes you and then calls you a different name, not as enjoyable, but not their fault. Beechwood Dental, #1, baby.
Good job out of them. A terrifying case of mistaken identity.
It was.
Happened to
It
you.
was.
Yeah,
It was.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Here are the declined fifth-year options. Chase Young on that list. We knew that last week.
But they want 2 1s for him. Okay.
All right. C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Carolina. Javon Kinlaw with the 49ers. Calebon Chason, which is one of my favorite names ever in the draft. From Jacksonville, Kenneth Murray Jr. with the Chargers. Cesar Ruiz of the Saints. Jordan Brooks, Patrick Queen, 2 off-ball linebackers, both off.
Well, they drafted Queen's replacement. I said that on
Yeah.
Friday night when they drafted the kid out of Clemson.
Yeah.
That they're not paying Queen and Roquan Smith, so they need a rookie to stay near Roquan Smith so
Yep.
that linebacking room's overall money stays reasonable. So he's out of there. Jordan Brooks, I'm surprised. He's good. And
He was really good, but he's coming off an injury, right?
And Kenneth Murray has been good for the Chargers. But it's off-ball linebacker. They're not locking themselves into a guaranteed money situation with an off-ball. That's just the way that it works.
Did I hear that Dos Unos was not?
Dos Unos declined as well. Off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Bring him home.
Yeah, I'd love to have him.
Give me Dos Unos.
And Brooks was hurt, right, last year? Because he was unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
I think he's coming off of
Still had 103 tackles last year.
I thought he got hurt at the end of last year, but maybe I'm wrong. But they brought Bobby back, Wagner.
Oh, no. Last year he had 161 tackles. So he did have a knee injury. Yeah, but still 162 tackles. Interesting.
Yeah.
He had an ACL at the end of the year.
That's what I thought. I thought that there was some sort of an injury issue.
I think
there.
in the last final game of the year, as a matter of fact. Because he finished.
He had 160 tackles, and it had to be late in the season.
Wasn't early, baby.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Shocking, the Vikings picking up Justin Jefferson's fifth-year option as
don't
well,
say.
so that's a shocker on that side of things. All right, we'll do some draft grades with Dane, go over our picks with him coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Come join me. You guys are down. Hey. You are up.
All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Time to head out on that Twisted Tea hotline brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Our good buddy Dane Brugler of The Athletic joining us. Buddy, you ever get a rest? I see you dropping a mock for 2024 today. You just came off the biggest weekend of the year. Do you going to get a little time away here in the next couple weeks?
I will take some time the next few weeks here to just recharge, kind of collect myself, coach a little baseball, a little softball with my kids. So yeah, definitely have some downtime coming up here, and then around June 1st, dive right back into it and get ready for next year.
It's amazing. You do the best, buddy. When you look back, before we get into the Browns specific, in terms of league wide, were there any trends, maybe positional trends or team trends that you liked, didn't like? What jumped out big picture NFL in the draft over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really interesting, the runs on certain positions that we saw with tackles going early, because teams knew that was a position that was going to thin out pretty quickly. So the tackles were off the board, all in the top half of round one. I thought it was interesting with some of the tight ends. Like, it's such a strong tight end class, and a lot of teams passed on a tight end in round one because they felt good about the tight ends that would be available in the second round. And so it was also interesting to hear from different teams the order of the tight ends. Like the Buffalo Bills traded up to get Dalton Kincaid because they wanted to jump the Cowboys at 26. Turns out, talking to my people in Dallas, Sam Laporta was the top tight end on their draft board and a guy they were considering at 26. So, the tight end and how all that worked out was interesting. Wide receiver, this is a quote-unquote down year for receiver relative to the last 2 years especially. But, what we still saw these guys fly off the board, 20, 21, 22. These guys, teams want to be more dynamic on offense. And so even though this wide receiver group wasn't on the same level as the past years, we still saw these guys fly off the board because it's all about scoring points. It's all about, who's going to help us put points on the board, and nobody outside of a quarterback is going to help you do that better than a wide receiver. So some really interesting fits. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba of Seattle, what a perfect fit for that offense. Geno Smith's got to be doing just that. I'd love to have had a camera on Geno when that pick was made. That of Seattle's going to be a real contender this year because of moves like that. On offense, and then even like Jordan Addison in Minnesota, what that means for Justin Jefferson and that offense. Quentin Johnston going to the Chargers, and how that's going to help Justin Herbert, and then of course Zay Flowers now in the AFC North. I mean, it's amazing how much that Baltimore Ravens narrative of the passing game, how much that's changed over the last month. Now with Lamar Jackson locked up for 5 years, you add. With Odell Beckham in the fold, you add Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, former first-round pick coming off an injury, and you add Zay Flowers in the mix, and Mark Andrews is still there. So all of a sudden, the passing game in Baltimore with Todd Monken, the whole narrative has shifted pretty quickly.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's because it feels like it's an arms race in the AFC. You're talking about teams just loading up on those guys who either score the ball, protect the guys who score the ball, or the defensive side to go after it. 27 of the 31 picks were either quarterbacks, pass catchers, offensive tackles, or pass rushers or corners. And that, I think, says enough.
Premium positions. Yeah,
and yet the Lions took 2 of the 4 that didn't fit into that category in one round. Is that something that you just expect to be kind of the norm here in the NFL going forward? And how surprised were you, as talented as Bijan Robinson is, and he is very talented, that he went in the top 8 to a team? Like, how much better do the Falcons think they can get running the ball? That one shocked me. But just overall, kind of the thoughts on the positions, and then what the Falcons did with Bijan.
Yeah, not only that, but in the second round, they drafted arguably the best zone blocking guard in Matthew Bergeron. So this is a team that knows what they are, and they're leaning into it. So there's something to be said about strengthening your strengths, and I think that's certainly something the Falcons are looking to do. The Lions. I think that when Devin Witherspoon was drafted at 5 to Seattle, which was a shock. You think about Pete Carroll, John Schneider, GM, This is their 14th draft together in Seattle. They had never drafted a corner in the first round before. And especially coming off a year where they found 2 starting level corners on day 3 last year, why would you? You don't need to, but that tells you how much they love Devin Witherspoon. But I think that really threw off the Lions at 6. As soon as that pick was made at 5, Lions were kind of scrambling a little bit. They trade back. And then at 12, they just didn't feel like they'd get Jahmyr Gibbs at 18. And I think that pushed everything up. So instead of getting Jack Campbell later, they just do it at 18. And, we'll never know for sure if Jack Campbell would have lasted to them until the second round or not. But I think there's a good bet he would have. I don't know that there was another team in the first round that was going to draft Jack Campbell. But, once all these guys get to training camp, you get on the field, it's not really about that. It's just about good players. And I think that's more than anything. Yes, draft is about value and strategy and maximizing what you can do. But at the same time, it's also about adding good football players. And I think the Lions feel confident they did that.
Let's go into some of our guys, and I know that that you liked our class quite a bit, especially from the value standpoint. Cedric Tillman is a guy that you watch a lot of college football. You're very well aware of what he did in 2021. Started this year on a very, very high note, or last year rather, I guess, with the win at Pittsburgh. He has 161 in that game, and then gets hurt and is kind of a forgotten guy. What do you make of him and the fit here with Deshaun Watson now piloting this offense?
Well, Cedric Tillman was one of the few true X receivers in this draft. 6'3.5", 215 pounds. A guy that coming into the season, talking to scouts, they thought he was a borderline first-round pick, late 1, early 2, and a chance to really blow up this year with Hendon Hooker in that offense. And, of course, he missed most of the year with that tightrope ankle surgery. Came back, wasn't quite right, wanted to rest it a little bit more. But this is a big-bodied receiver who can be a possession threat on those back shoulders and comeback routes, and not going to create a ton of separation, but he doesn't need to because of his body and the way he catches the football. But he can also win vertically. He has the straight line speed to win over the top. A 4.54 doesn't jump off the page as this blazing 40-yard dash time. But let's remember, he's 215 pounds. This is a big guy. Moving pretty well. Quentin Johnston, he's lighter, and he ran a 4.51. So it's not like, Quentin Johnston going in the first round. Surprised Tillman lasted to the pick 74. I expected him to go off the board somewhere between 40 and 60, and I don't think the Browns expected him to be there, and I don't think they went into day 2, thinking, okay, we're going to come away with this first pick absolutely with a wide receiver. But the Browns did a really good job of letting the board fall to them and really maximizing the value with each one of those picks. Cedric Tillman, great example of that. When you make these draft picks, especially third, fourth round, you're not only thinking about 2023, you're thinking about 2024, 2025. What do those rosters look like? And a guy like Cedric Tillman, he is now, because the wide receiver depth chart is there's a lot of bodies right now for the Browns. But moving forward, Cedric Tillman, you pencil him in as the X moving forward, and you feel pretty good about him being I won't say like a true difference maker, but a guy that could be a weapon in this offense, no doubt.
And that's, I think, one of the exciting things is that they were able to get a guy, and perhaps had he come out in 2021, might not have been available to the Cleveland Browns. Probably would have been off the board maybe by their second-round pick, and they ended up trading out of that, and now you're able to get him. The one guy I want to ask you about is DeJuan Jones, because I saw your grade on him. I saw Lance Zierlein, whose opinion I respect greatly when it comes to offensive line. He had a first or a second-round grade on him. And then I was reading a lot of comments, they didn't handle the draft process well. Can you kind of walk us through what happened, and then in your mind, what kind of a value did the Browns get? And not only that, I would argue that DeJuan Jones could have landed in a better spot to be here with Bill Callahan. But how did it get to be that he was available for the Browns where he was? And then do you think the Browns kind of have a first or a second-round pick in this draft in Jones, even though they didn't technically have one?
DeJuan Jones clearly has starting potential. There's no doubt about that. 6'8", 375 pounds. You watch his film this year, and it really seemed like he was turning a corner. He's a basketball guy most of his life, and it felt like this year he was really accepting himself as a football player. He does a really nice job eliminating space, using his hands, and just blocking the access points for rushers with that wide body of his, the humongous wingspan. He's not a guy that has the quick reaction skills. He's not going to be that type of guy who's going to mirror in space. But once he gets in position and gets his hands on you, it's over. And then in the run game, he could be a masher. But this is a young player. He's still just 21 years old. He won't turn 22 until well into training camp. And, it's with that, there have been some maybe decisions that he would like back. Senior Bowl, spent one day in Mobile, and then got a little banged up and decided to just hang it up the rest of the week. Goes to the combine, weighs in at 374, which I think is a good weight for him. Realistic weight for him. Only does the 40-yard dash, and it's fine. He's good. He has a good time for a guy that size, but does nothing else. Then at the pro day, he does not weigh in. So, you kind of worried, okay, is he close to 400 now? What is the weight going on with the weight here? And then doesn't do any drills. He doesn't do no weight, no workout, just a choice. And so that didn't help him. And so there are questions about motivation, questions about football passion. Is this guy going to absolutely do everything required to get all the ability that he has and make the most of of the talent? But I think your point about Coach Callahan is a key thing here. The Browns would not have drafted DeJuan Jones if Coach Callahan does not give the sign-off. If he does not say, hey, I think we can work with this kid and we can really get the most out of him. So for the Browns to make that move, I thought DeJuan Jones was going to fall. I mean, he was ranked in the 60s on my board. People telling me he was too low. I mean, he was not going to go first round. I thought maybe somewhere middle of day 2 made sense for him. Yeah. He falls all the way out of day 2 into day 3. And at that point, it's just like, okay, as long as our coaches are on board that he's worth the risk, let's roll the dice and see what we can have here. Obviously, the Browns don't have a glaring need at tackle right now. So you don't have to press him into action, bring him along at his own pace. And as he gets older, as he develops, as he matures, this could end up looking like a steal, no doubt.
Dane, I think if we can probably all agree that if one person on this list has to hit, it's Siaki Ika in terms of for next year.
Yep.
He's got to go. It's a third-round pick, and it is what it is. Starts his career at LSU. Does he have what is needed out of a Jim Schwartz defense and required out of the defensive tackle position to have an impact immediately?
Yeah, especially part of a rotation. I think that he's a light-footed big man, 335 pounds, but he's light-footed for that size. And coming from that Dave Aranda, that hybrid scheme that he runs, he was asked to do a lot of things in the middle. Just taking on doubles, creating those 12-car pileups in the middle of the line. He has some disruptive qualities, but he doesn't always get a chance to show that. So I think as part of a rotation, keeping him fresh, he's more than just a plugger. He can be a guy that is really giving you, shooting gaps and doing stuff in the backfield. Again, this is another player where the weight will be important. He was 335 at the combine, and then a couple weeks later at the pro day, he's 347. 12 pounds heavier. So it's important that the weight will stay under control, and it's not something that the team has to worry about mid-season. But he's a guy that will come in, be part of the rotation, and I think he go back to the 2021 bowl game against Ole Miss. That's what last summer watching Ika. He was so disruptive in that game that really sold me on him, and he entered the year as a top 50 player on my board. And this year he didn't really he didn't take that next step, but this is a quality lineman, and they just don't. It's a planet theory. There's only so many people on the planet that are 6'3", 335, and have his feet, his strength, that move like him. So to add him to the rotation, I think it's very good use of a third-round pick.
Staying on that defensive line, talking with, of course, Dane Brugler, the expert from The Athletic. And, Dane, I've said it on the show. I texted you this, but I'll say it again. Get the beast. I could not have done what I did over the 14 hours of radio that we did covering the draft over the weekend without it. It is such an invaluable resource. It allowed me, even in my question when I got to interview Ika, to talk to him about, what was it like being the youngest of 5 siblings with 3 older brothers? Did that kind of forge your toughness early in your life? And he laughed at that and said, yes, I would never have known that without the beast. You get every little possible detail you could get in this guide. So I certainly thank you again for that and urge everybody. It comes with your subscription at The Athletic. Go do it. You'll find out everything about these guys on the Browns and any other player drafted or even those not drafted that you care to learn about. Dane, Isaiah McGuire was one of the names that was linked to the Browns, I feel like, throughout this entire process. And really, of the ones that they drafted, that was the one name consistently you saw Isaiah McGuire be a possibility for the Browns. I think you may have at one point had them taking him at 98. I've seen so many mocks I could be getting confused, but he was certainly in the mix for him. They ended up getting him at 126. They're thrilled about it. What did you see from him, and is he a guy that in your mind can push Alex Wright as early as this rookie year?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is if the Browns drafted him at 74, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye, because he was considered a potential top 100 player in this draft. 6'4.5", 268 pounds, a fourth-year senior, but still just 21 years old. I think he checked a lot of the boxes that we know this team looks for. He's a guy that, you want to throw or see the player who gave Broderick Jones, who the Steelers traded up for in the first round. You want to see who gave him the most trouble? Throw on the Missouri-Georgia game. And you see Isaiah McGuire, you see that speed off the edge, that speed to power, the heavy hands, being able to put Broderick Jones, attack his breastplate and put him on his heels and totally disrupt what the quarterback was trying to do. Isaiah McGuire can do that. He is a guy that has enough speed that can challenge the edge. He has the strength in his hands where he can create that power at contact. There's a lot to work with here. I was surprised he was still on the board at 126 for the Browns, but he fits perfectly with this scheme, and it's a great opportunity to keep these guys fresh. So obviously Myles Garrett is your ace of the staff, but your secondary guys, your other rushers, as you try to build around him, make it a rotation, work these guys in and out, keep them fresh, and just keep attacking. Isaiah McGuire helps you do that.
Dane, let's do a little around the division. How did everybody else do? I asked the question fearful of the answer because my hunch is they all did pretty well. What did you make of the Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals drafts?
Steelers did great. My top 100, they drafted 6 players, which second or first behind the Browns. And the Bears also drafted 6 as well. But to trade up and get the left tackle and Broderick Jones, that's a big thing for them. They hadn't drafted a tackle in the first round in 25 years. It was well overdue. To be able to get Joey Porter Jr., obviously, great story with his dad. But, he's a starting level corner. To get him in the second round, then to get Keanu Benton in the second round. I mean, just a terrific 1-2 right there in the second. Then Darnell Washington, he fell all the way to 93. Nick Herbig, the pass rusher / linebacker from Wisconsin, that's a good story. His older brother Nate, the Steelers signed this offseason. But they'll figure out a way to use him in that 3-4 scheme. 7th round, Corey Trice Jr. He was a top 100 player for me. The knee injury forced him to fall a little bit, but if he's healthy, he can play. There's a lot to work with there. The Browns, the Steelers, they were, I think, the top in terms of return in the division. Browns would have been second, and then I think the Bengals and Ravens fighting it out for third. I like what both teams did. The Bengals, this was a draft for the future for them. Yeah. I don't think they drafted a guy that's going to start this year, but Miles Murphy on the edge, add him to the rotation. DJ Turner, the corner from Michigan, play inside, outside. And then on day 3, I think the key pick for them was Chase Brown, the running back from Illinois. With Joe Mixon, that situation's kind of up in the air a little bit. Chase Brown's going to be able to come in and give them a more explosive Samaje Perine. So we'll see plenty of Chase Brown this year for the Bengals. And then, the Ravens, we talked about Zay Flowers and what that means to that offense. Trenton Simpson, the linebacker, super athletic. getting him as late as 86, I thought was outstanding value. And then on day 3, Caillou Blue Kelly, the corner from Stanford. Marcus Peters no longer there. They have a need at corner to keep building up that depth chart. Kelly is a guy that we will see as a rookie play a pretty prominent role for the Ravens. So I think all 4 teams did pretty well for themselves. Definitely got better.
Nick Herbig, what do you see him being in the NFL? And I'm going to just say, based on what I read about him in your report and what I looked at his production, and maybe it's because he also went to Wisconsin, but it sounded to me like in college and with his size, he was kind of like what Joe Schobert was in college. They go around the same spot 4th round, but then Joe transitioned to off-ball. Do you think that's what Herbig has to do with the Steelers, or do you think he's going to be a pass rusher at this level? Because I remember Schobert, I'm pretty sure in his last year had 9.5 sacks, maybe 10 sacks at Wisconsin, which was similar numbers to Herbig. But so I was just wondering if there are any similarities there.
That is the question mark with Herbig. If teams had a better idea of what he was going to be, he would have went in probably the 2nd round. But because there's position confusion there, he's 6'2", 240. So, and he's very short arms. So can he really play an edge rusher position? But he's never played off ball before. He's not a guy that's been asked to drop and play on his feet. And so there's a projection if you're going to be asking him to do that. So the position confusion is why a lot of teams were just kind of out on Nick Herbig. But again, to get him in the 4th round, I mean, it's kind of like the discussion we were having with, like a DeJuan Jones or, the flawed players, but you could see a path where it's working out. And for the Steelers with their scheme, you kind of try him at different spots. You let him rush the quarterback. You don't take that away from because that's what he does best. But can he do more than that? That's kind of the big question mark. But I think in the 4th round, those are the dart throws that you take and see if it works out or not.
When you go back and kind of look at this draft as you get ready to project forward, and there was so much talk about the quarterbacks, and all of a sudden you see quarterbacks go boom, 1, 2, 4. Anthony Richardson goes early, and I think that was a perfect landing spot for him. Is it one of those, last year, does that just say that last year's quarterback class was just so bad, that being the one that just had Kenny Pickett go in the 1st round, Malik Willis goes in the 3rd? Was that almost kind of an anomaly? This was a good one, and then next year's supposed to be great, right? So It could be, obviously even heavier at the top. You have the Cardinals getting their dream draft in that one. But what did this class versus the year before and then the year coming after, what did that kind of say to you about the quarterback position in general and how these picks were made?
Yeah, last year, it's funny, leading up to the draft last year, texting, buddies around the league and like working on a final mock draft and asking, okay, where are these quarterbacks going to go? They all said the same thing. They're going to go. They're going to go. And they didn't. Teams trusted that, they just weren't the caliber of quarterback they were looking for. Plus, they advanced scout. They knew what was coming this year. So teams were willing to be patient. They waited on Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. And it's interesting if Will Levis goes 4 instead of Anthony Richardson's the guy that falls a little bit. It's not a case of, Seattle would have taken Richardson at 5 or Atlanta would have taken Richardson at 8. It was just there's only so many landing spots where teams are willing to draft 1st-round quarterbacks this year. Yep. So Will Levis, unfortunately for him, was the odd man out. The Titans tried trading up with the Eagles, with the Chiefs into the 1st round to get him. Turns out they couldn't get a deal done. Well, they trade up in the 2nd to get Will Levis. But the common theme is, or the common saying is, next year's quarterback class is always better. And does it get overused? Of course it does. But it was true last year, and I think it's true this year. Next year's quarterback class with Caleb Williams at the top, Drake May has a lot of Justin Herbert to his game. Quinn Ewers has a special arm. It's just the mental development part of things. Does that catch up? J.J. McCarthy from Michigan has all the talent and all the intangibles in the world. Just can he be more consistent? And then there's a really intriguing group of senior quarterbacks, guys like Michael Penix from Washington, who just had a fantastic year after transferring from Indiana. Bo Nix, same thing in Oregon after he transferred from Auburn. So a lot of intriguing quarterbacks next year. And there's always guys that emerge. I've already heard hype for Georgia's quarterback who's coming in replacing Stetson Bennett, and so there's always guys that maybe emerge throughout the process. But I have no doubt next year's quarterback class has a chance to be a special one.
Dane, get you out of here on this one, and this is going to be my gift to you. This is going to. You heard it from me first, okay? Number 18 for Ohio State is good. So just Just keep an eye on him.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you pronounce his name again?
Yeah, I don't even want to say it out loud because I there's some family lineage. Okay. I just don't want to make too many people aware of him. Just
a secret.
Keep an eye on 18 in scarlet and gray next year.
I think he's going to have to move him up in his next 2024 mock. He's going to have to move him up from where he had him in the first one now that you've brought him to his attention.
Okay, yeah, you probably didn't even have him in your mock, I bet. I haven't had a chance to fully go through it. My guess is you didn't have him in there.
I didn't see him in picks 3 on, so...
3 on he wasn't. Okay.
So he probably wasn't in it.
Probably missed him.
Probably missed
him.
All
right, well, my gift to you, now you know.
Yeah, sweet.
Okay. Oh, no, thank you. I'm going to turn him on right now because it sounds like a sleeper.
Appreciate you, buddy, as always.
All right, thanks, guys. Anytime.
That's our good buddy Dane Brugler with The Athletic, joining on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Second hour coming up next. Z's conversation with DeJuan Jones. Among the things, what's Poisel going to do this week?
Who knows? Maybe you better tune in. Miss a little, miss a lot.
It's a lot on the line for that kid every time he comes on here. It's always tightrope with a razor blade.
That's right.
Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Are you?
Back into Cleveland Browns Daily here on a Tuesday edition, broadcasting from the undisclosed location. We want to jump into the DeLorean, head back to day 3 of the NFL Draft and the Browns Radio Network. Here is Z and Gerard with our new offensive lineman, the big tackle, big Thanos, Buckeye standout, DeJuan Jones.
We welcome in now.
You're down.
Pick of your Cleveland Browns tackle, DeJuan Jones from the Ohio State University. DeJuan, first of all, congratulations on making it to the National Football League and getting to start your career here in the great state of Ohio with the Cleveland Browns. What was it like for you when you got that call?
It was a lifelong dream, just waiting to hear, what team it was, it was just a blessing, honestly.
And DeJuan, with that sigh of relief, obviously you had to wait around a couple of days, and I have to imagine that is a tough prospect. But once you did get that call, did you know it was from the Browns? Did you recognize the area code since you do live in Ohio?
Yes, I did. Once you see that 216 number, you know where it's coming from. I got a couple teammates. From there. So once I seen it come in, I was my eyes lit up, and my friends kind of knew. So it was a great joy.
So you get to stay in the state, but I think probably the bigger thing for you is you're going to get an opportunity to work with Bill Callahan. What do you know about Bill Callahan and obviously the history of the tackle position here with the Cleveland Browns? Joe Thomas going in the Hall of Fame this year, but Bill Callahan is considered one of the very best in this league. What do you know about him, and how excited are you to get an opportunity to kind of get molded by someone of his stature?
I just keep hearing he's one of the greatest of the game. I'm very familiar to his game. I watch a couple of his guys, like you said, Joe Thomas, Cedric, he excels well. He's somebody I watched and try to get better, So, it is great having somebody like as a great coach as Coach Callahan.
And DeJuan, one of the things that really impresses me about your game and what you did in the collegiate ranks is that you weren't about giving up sacks. And each week there's a pressure that comes along with that. So, my man, what was it about your preparation? How did you get to a place where you were so successful with your pass protection?
I just try to find the weaknesses of the game before it even starts. The defense kind of tips off certain things, maybe the knee or something like that. You try to take away keys, but just watching film and repping it out every day at practice, it don't get better than that.
When you look at this offense, and we're evolving, and it's going to be a different offense, obviously, with Deshaun Watson, but still a lot of zone principles, a lot of movement skills. You played hoops. You're nimble on your feet. Is that something that you are excited about, that opportunity to showcase your athleticism in this type of an offense?
Yes, sir. Our offense at Ohio State is kind of similar to the one the Browns. We watch film of theirs, and so it's going to be interesting to see, how I work into the offense.
And you, sir, are a mountain of a man, and certainly excited to see you get in here and get to work. Has there been any discussions on, what do you feel like your ideal playing weight is, and have the Browns discussed that with you at all?
I think I'd probably play at 360 for sure during the season. Okay. That's a good, healthy weight for me, maybe even lighter. But, that's what I play at normally during the season, and, I feel healthy at it.
And far as run protection and run blocking in that regard, do you foresee yourself or do you mold yourself as a grazer guy who wants to just mow down people, take that physical approach? Because we do a lot of movement in this offense, and how does that fit your skill set?
I think it fits it a lot. If you go turn the tape, you see me mauling guys, and I just like to get my feet running. They kind of run the same, similar, like I said, to our offense at Ohio State. A lot of zone blocking, so it kind of gets my feet going, and I feel like it's good for me.
What do you want to improve upon from a technique standpoint, if anything? Obviously, you have the size, you have the strength, you have the length, that unbelievable wingspan. And in this game at this level, the evolution is, right, becoming a technique master. Joe Thomas is going to go in the Hall of Fame not because he was the biggest, the longest, the strongest, any of it. He was just a master of technique, and he's somebody that's going to be a resource for you. He's going to be around here quite a bit, and you're going to get to pick his brain, which I think is a pretty cool thing for the young linemen to come in here. But when you kind of evaluate your own game, where do you see areas that you want to improve?
I would say, I'm kind of using my length to my strength. I kind of start the waistband sometimes, and I think that's the only thing I really just want to work on, just using my length to my God-given ability, just making sure the rusher can't get around the edge, just not reaching out too early,
Yep.
Just making sure I do my job. Yes, sir.
I'm curious. I'm a man who loves food. I love to eat a great deal. I am significantly smaller than you, sir. I'm about 6'4", 210. Walk me through your daily caloric intake. What do you get to eat? What do you love to eat? How does that go? Because on some level, right, you're trying to maintain as well, I would imagine, your size.
For the most part, I just eat salads. I had to cut back, on the normal stuff I eat. Salads. I had to turn burgers into turkey burgers. So a lot of more salmon and good nutrition in my body.
Keeping it lean and on the scene. I like it.
I heard that because I was hoping you were going to say a steak or two, but hey, it's all right.
Back at 30.
No steaks for me.
He's keeping those lean proteins in there. Well, DeJuan, certainly congratulations on your dream coming true. I am very excited to get to see you, get to meet you, and then to watch you get to work because you're going to have one of those very unique experiences in the rookie minicamp where you're going to get to have basically one-on-one instruction with Bill Callahan and then also with Scott Peters, who is an incredible technician and understands so much about functional strength. So it's going to be exciting to see you start to get molded into becoming a Cleveland Brown and unbelievable skill set that is undeniable with your size. And, sir, we are very proud of you and very happy to have you here.
Yes, sir.
You're up.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. That'll be. We've talked a lot about Big Thanos, and I think because you see the upside of it all, and the upside is quite large.
I'm excited just to meet him in person. I'm excited to gaze upon.
You don't see much
this
6'8", 400-ish
as an athlete.
As an athlete who is an elite basketball player, you don't see that much. Yeah, he's
a giant tractor trailer.
He's your starting center now on the basketball team. If we're putting a basketball team, he's the big, and it's solved. I mean, it really changes the kind of the makeup of the team.
I mean, you've got him. Batonio was a force.
JOK.
I think you play D's. Andre Iguodala. I mean, he obviously was very productive, but his shooting, we need some work, as we saw.
Well, we get
behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's true. We definitely need
Miles,
obviously. We got to get some shooters. I mean, you and I could play.
I know. Put Rich LeCount back on the 90 just for the hoops. LeCount could ball.
He could ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Gibby, you might not be needed anymore with all this size we have. There was a time you were our standard.
I'm happy to coach.
Gosh, it'd be great. Would you wear a full suit, like Riley style? That'd be amazing.
Can I do the fedora?
Yes, of course you can.
For a basketball game, can I break out a fedora?
Yes,
of course you can.
Of course you can do that. It's your world. All right, coming up next, we'll take a look around the AFC North. We got a little teaser with that with Dane, and unfortunately everybody got a lot better. This division's an absolute monster. We'll get into that coming up next. AP will join at the bottom of the hour. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
We're here for Grid
Up.
Well, it's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns and help with your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. We teased this, talked about this briefly with Dane. Here's the Reader's Digest version. The entire AFC North is better. They're all better.
Yeah, that's what the draft is, an opportunity, at least on paper, right, to get better. And I think that's what we saw certainly in our division. They seem to get better. It's pretty incredible, just from the Steelers standpoint, right? Let me just give one example, because I thought Daniel Jeremiah did a pretty good job in his mock. He nailed the Stroud-Anderson. He made that trade. He didn't get everything right, obviously, but he did a pretty good job. One of the things that's crazy looking back on it is he had Jalen Carter going 5, Nolan Smith going 10 to the Eagles. The Eagles end up with both of them. Talking about our division, he had Zay Flowers going 11. He goes to Baltimore. Broderick Jones, the tackle, he nailed that going to the Steelers at 17 in his original mock.
Yep.
Then you go down a little bit further, and this is one that hurts me. He had Keanu Benton going 28th to the Bengals. Keanu Benton goes to the Steelers in the second round. He had Miles Murphy go 29 to the Saints. He actually went to the Bengals at 28. So he was pretty well on it, and it did feel like in many ways, it was a very good draft for our division. I thought the Steelers especially had an excellent draft and did a good job of really kind of maximizing, the talent to them. We'll go alphabetically, though, real quickly. The Ravens, Zay Flowers, Trenton Simpson. That allows them a succession plan for Patrick Queen, which we saw. They said they're not going to go ahead and, renew his, pick up his fifth-year option. Tavius Robinson, an edge from Mississippi. Stanford, the corner, and this is a guy who got a shout-out from Dane. Caillou Blue Kelly at 157. Bengals, theirs isn't maybe as impressive, but still not bad. Miles Murphy, DJ Turner, Jordan Battle, so they go defense, defense, defense. You probably know more about Charlie Jones and Chase Brown than I do, but Charlie Jones seems to be somebody maybe that in the long term can replace Tyler Boyd when they're unable to pay 3 receivers in the slot. And then Chase Brown, I know, was very productive at Iowa, but this Steelers.
Chase Brown was Illinois, right?
Illinois, that's it. Yes, sorry.
He was Brett Bielema, the coach at Illinois, rode him like Seabiscuit.
Got it.
Like it was 36 carries for 162 yards.
Yep.
That's what that dude was. He was when they had a really nice season last year, and a lot of it was on his wheels.
The Steelers get Broderick Jones, most people's top tackle in draft. They get Joey Porter Jr., who a lot of people thought they might draft at 17.
Really good player out of
They get Keanu Benton, who we just saw Daniel Jeremiah thought would go in the first round, that we talked a lot about to the Browns out of Wisconsin, which was obviously folly that he would be there for us. Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia that people thought might go in the first or second round. They get him at pick 93. Now there are medical concerns with him, and he's really more of an inline wide tight end than really a pass catcher. They get Herbig, and then Corey Trice out of Purdue was somebody that Dane mentioned is a good player as well. So everybody in the division did get better, and if you look at really, because it happened on draft day, which seems like 5 years ago, but that's when the Lamar Jackson deal got done. Great string there, I would say, for the Baltimore Ravens. I think that the Browns, we got better as well, since we didn't have a day one pick. Or even in the second round. I thought the Browns made themselves better, but a lot of ours is much like Cincy, where you see Siaki Ika and you say he can make an immediate impact. Maybe Isaiah McGuire does, maybe Tillman does this year, but long term you have a bunch of guys that you're hoping that can contribute. Now, what's wild to me is I would have never thought there was room for 7 guys on this team, and maybe there isn't, but there's going to be some real competition to make this football team.
To, I think, further buttress the point, I was looking at win totals for next year. Our division, the lowest win total is 8.5.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh's 8.5. We vacillate between 8.5 and 9.5. So does Baltimore, 8.5 and 9.5, and Cincinnati is 11.5.
Jeez.
So
I think it's gonna be hard for them to go 12-5. I think they're very good. I just think our division is very good.
I mean, that just tells you. There's no other division, though, that has that. The only one that's close is the AFC East.
Yeah.
But the Pats are 7.5. Everybody else, every other division at least has one that's hanging out that's
definitely
lower,
losing.
6.5 or whatever. You don't have every team expected to be above 500. That just doesn't. It's just there's no other division like it. So it's absolutely brutal.
It's wild. Yeah, it is brutal, and then it's going to be just the whole season in general is going to be a murderer's row, And you look at our division, and the schedule release you mentioned coming up here in under 10 days. It is going to be very, very interesting to see ultimately how all of this stuff plays out with the matchups, with everybody that you have to deal with. It's going to be hard. If a team goes 4-2 in the division, that will be, I think, a great accomplishment.
No doubt. I think the reason that another contributing factor to those numbers that I mentioned is the cross-division pollination.
Sure.
So we're matched up AFC South, NFC West. So that's where you get – all of a sudden, we're all going to play Tennessee, Jacksonville, Indy, and Houston. So that's – every team in our division should go 3-1 in that stretch.
Yeah.
You would think. And then we're all going to play the NFC West. So that's Rams, Seahawks, Cards, and Niners. Obviously, the Seahawks and the Niners are a full day. Seahawks are very, very competitive. But the Rams and who knows what the Rams are going to end up being. And the Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams. So there's for a good team, there's a chance to go 6-2 there.
5-3 feels like where you need to be in there, and a chance to be better than that. Yeah. Because your own division is going to be 3-3 will be just fine. You go 3-3 in the division, you'll feel good about that, and then it's a matter of what you can pick up on the random games, right? Which is
to further your point on the Bengals, because you were talking about hard to imagine them getting to 12. They play Kansas City, they play Buffalo, they play the Vikings. Those are their
Kansas City, Buffalo, and Vikings. Our matchups for those same three are the Broncos, who are no slouch, the Jets, a little bit unlucky there, and then we get the Bears.
Okay. Who a lot of people think is one of the most improved teams. But we should be, right. Yeah. But that's unlucky on Rodgers.
Even if you take in our division, we come out, we play well. Let's say that we're favored in 3 of our division games. Okay? 3, which is maybe it should be around that.
Yeah.
We'll be favored over the Bears. We get the Jags here, which I think is helpful, probably a slight favorite. Jets here, I don't know. Niners here, not sure. Titans here will be favored. Away, we'll be favored at the Texans and the Colts and the Rams is my guess, not at the Seahawks or the Broncos. So we'll be favored in more games than I think we won't be. And then depending how the season progresses and how we play, that'll shake that out even further.
Yeah, just for some perspective, Baltimore's cross-division games are the Lions. They have the Lions, the Chargers. Who am I missing? Lions, Chargers,
and then the Dolphins.
So depending on, that's pretty brutal with the 2 AFC teams, and then Detroit's an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will probably be the easiest path of the 4 of us.
So Pittsburgh in those games will get the Patriots,
Packers.
The Packers. Well, did the Packers finish last in that division? They must have.
No, the Bears did.
The Bears. Oh, right. We get the Bears. Yep.
Yeah.
So look at the Packers,
Patriots,
and the Raiders.
So they get the easiest of the 3.
Yep.
By far. So that's where you stand on that.
Yeah, we got a little unlucky with last place versus third place.
No kidding. You don't say.
I do say.
Yeah. That Jets team's a little different.
Well, yeah.
Than the team that ended last season, to say the least.
Not that we handled the Patriots last year,
or the Jets.
No, we did not,
for that matter. But no, that's a little bit of a different assignment. We'll play a little better or worse coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Are you newly engaged?
on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready? You were up.
All right, welcome back into the undisclosed location, Cleveland Browns Daily here on 850 ESPN Cleveland. It is a Tuesday. It is 2:30. It's time for a little better or worse, and we do so via the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. AP joins us for a little higher, lower, better, or worse, presented by our friends at the Ohio Lottery. Oh, hi. Hello, Gibbe. Hello, AP.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hello, guys. Happy to join the fireside chat.
Where are you? AP, are you at an undisclosed location, or are you at the stadium?
I am at my apartment.
You're at an undisclosed
Not at the stadium.
location.
That starts tomorrow.
You'll get it.
He's got to be at the stadium tomorrow. Any of the stadium people had to work from home the last couple of days while we moved all the furniture to the stadium and set everything up.
So we won't get to
Workstations
see
and
AP
everything.
just walking around?
Well, I mean, once we start having availability here in a couple weeks, rookie minicamp, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back in the building for all the good stuff.
You can share the trailer with Yellowstone.
You got a trailer over
That'd
there?
be amazing.
There's a
I'd love to
trailer.
stop
Did
in.
you get an Airstream? What'd you get?
No, it's not really an Airstream.
Not an Airstream. Okay. Would have been sweet, though, right? If you had an Airstream, maybe make a little patio, some of those lights that people hang around there.
Yeah.
I love
Just
those
saying.
lights. I got them around my pergola.
Who
They're
doesn't
nice.
love those lights? They're undefeated.
They're
They
great.
set a mood. They set a mood. My wife's been trying to get me to hang lights. I said, there's no place to hang lights
Oh,
down
we got
there.
bistro lights over our
Of course.
deck, baby.
They're undefeated.
Yeah.
It sets a tone. There's a mood.
You don't have anywhere in that compound of yours?
Not where there's like a post. I mean, you got to have a post, right? Don't you?
We take ours off of the
You have to
upper
set-
balcony down to out to trees and then back up, and then it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
I don't have anything to
They
hang it on.
reflect off of the water as you drive in.
See? It's a tone, man.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
tone setter.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. A little bit of news, by the way.
Okay.
And it's not really like big news or anything like that, but it's kind of fun, kind of cool. DeMarcus Ware will sing the national anthem at the Hall of Fame preseason game in Canton this year.
There you go.
Is he one of the guys going in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in this year's class.
He most certainly
He's
is.
singing the national anthem.
Surprised they don't have the Hoff unleash his pipes.
What
What-
can't the Hoff do? Other than be heard by us yesterday.
That's
for
it. Yeah.
6 minutes of the show.
Right.
But other than that.
Did you like that when I sent it to you?
Oh.
I was dying. And then I was terrified. We're all very lucky.
Oh,
but
of course.
I was dying. Like, and I just, the idea of us, like, continuing on like, welcoming the Hoff, having him give a gracious answer, and then you just interrupting him with your own impression of him, and then him just stepping out
And
letting
laughing at it.
and then just us having a conversation for 6 minutes while he sat there.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. Unreal.
Yeah.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Oh, it
AP,
was.
we haven't heard from you yet. What did you think of the draft?
Yeah, I really liked what they did with their first two picks. I think it's pretty telling that they took Cedric Tillman, a wide receiver, which was a position that was always on the table for, their first pick in that third round at 74 overall. But it wasn't necessarily their top need. But I think it just speaks to how highly they thought of Cedric Tillman, that they still took him in that spot. And then obviously they were able to fill, that need at defensive tackle that we've been talking about all offseason still with Siaki Ika. What he's able to do when he gets in the building, but obviously, what we know about him now is that he's a very, very big human being, just like a lot of the other guys in the draft class. And, he's going to have a chance to possibly, get a pretty sizable role here in his rookie year. So, and I like what they did with the rest of their picks too, patching up other depth spots on the roster. I like it. I think we'll see, a good display this year from one or two of those guys in that draft class.
Do you agree with most of the consensus? And I realize that it's too early to give draft grades, but do you agree with most of the consensus thought out there that we outdrafted the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The Jaguars.
I'm kidding, AP.
I got to refresh my memory on who the Jaguars did. Is that a joke?
Don't worry about it, Poisel. It's a
run
trap.
right through it. Stay
Walk
out of the
away.
trap.
It's not a
Walk
trap.
away,
Yes,
Poisel.
we did. Yes, we did. Let's go.
Yes.
Moving on. Power rankings.
Are you only saying that because
No,
Yes.
no, AP.
Say,
No.
No,
Jeez.
just go back
quick.
to your undisclosed.
We got to be quick.
Stay with
we
us.
Got to be
Keep
quick.
it moving.
Stay with us, as my dad would say. Duck, it's coming back. All right, let's go higher.
Give
lower.
it. Go higher.
Go.
Lower. Save the representation.
Compliments of the 33rd team. So the 33rd team, seriously, Zagura.
That was actually a pretty easy thing. Yep.
Featuring NFL content from current and former players, coaches, and execs. I believe the Hoff is part of this group, too.
He is.
Paul.
You got it.
Domowich. Sure.
Yep.
Domowich.
Yep.
His post-draft power rankings.
Yep.
So we'll go higher, lower, or just right. Paul has hit it.
Higher or lower?
The Cleveland Browns come in at number 20 post-draft. Zagura, higher, lower, or just right?
I mean, this is laughable, man.
We're better than this, but we've got to earn it. So I'm fine
stop
with it.
it.
I'm
Stop
fine
it.
with
Stop
the
it.
disrespect.
Yeah, you better
Stop
just
stop it.
Yeah.
Why do I have to
you're
stop it?
You're
now?
telling me Bryce Young?
No, I think it's absurd. I said
At 16.
The first thing I said is we're way better
Bryce
than this.
Young?
Yeah, we are better.
Carolina
than this.
team is 4 teams better than us.
No, it's
you're
absurd.
telling me
they're ahead of the Dolphins.
Jordan Love?
No, I'm
With
not.
The Packers?
We're better
are
than
ahead
the
of us?
We're better. We should be
like,
up higher.
Come on, I'm all for proving it, earning it. I think some people like to see it. You want to move? You see the show me state? That's great.
Missouri,
but I think
Missouri, Gibby.
I mean, come on. There's got to be some.
Yes, we're in the
common
top half of
sense
the
here.
league. Like this is
This
absurd.
is ridiculous. You
we're
want to
better than the Vikings?
Right. So put us 15, fine, 16. I don't care. But you cannot have us behind Carolina, Green Bay, the Saints,
or the Vikings.
Or the Vikings. That's ridiculous.
Agreed. Broncos are way too low too.
Next.
Higher or lower?
Number 1 in the post-draft power rankings, the Philadelphia Eagles. Anthony Poisal, higher, lower, or just right?
Yeah, I still think they belong at 2 behind the Chiefs, but I will say that they had an awesome draft class, and they also made a great move by getting DeAndre Swift from the Lions. I think they have a really good backfield now, especially if Rashad Penny can stay healthy. I can see why you would rank them at number 1 because they filled all the holes that they possibly could have had on their roster based on the players that they lost in free agency. But the Chiefs are still the Super Bowl champs here, and until we start seeing the games again, I think they belong at 1.
Zagura.
Ric Flair, baby. To be the man, you got to beat the man. They faced the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs won. They're the gold standard. They are number 2 in my mind. The Eagles, and yes, I can understand why on paper you'd say they're number 1, but the Chiefs just get it done. Always.
It can be both that the Chiefs should still be 1 and also that Philly, who was great,
is better on paper.
Dramatically improved.
Yes.
Like the Kansas City did not have this offseason.
No.
So
how could you?
Yeah.
The rest of the league.
I mean,
colluded.
they are.
That was my thesis yesterday. And then now everybody, according to Peter Schrager, everybody's mad that everybody's praising Howie Roseman.
Well, tough.
Shouldn't let him do that.
Yeah, don't
let him get Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, and
don't let him
Swift.
get DeAndre Swift for a can of balls.
That's right.
Next.
A bag of Doritos.
Higher or lower?
The Chiefs are number 2 in this power ranking. The Bengals, number 3. The Buffalo Bills at number 4. The 49ers, 5. The Jags, 6. And it takes us to number 7. Bo Bishop, the Detroit Lions. Higher, lower, or just right, Mr. Bishop?
They're lower. They're not there yet. They're not better than Dallas right now. They're not better than the Jets right now. They're not better than the Ravens right now.
How about the Giants?
I would not take them over the Chargers right now.
No.
They are a nice little story, but, again, show me.
Poisal?
Yeah, I agree with Bo. I mean, I think at some point over the next year we could have them as high as 7 on this list, but we still got to see them beat some of the teams that Bo was talking about on this list, or at least teams that are in that range on these power rankings. They obviously, we've talked about it many times, they finished last season incredibly strong. I think they're going to have a just as talented, if not better, roster this year, but again, we got to see it.
I mean, I like the Jags too. I'm a big Jags guy, but 6th? That feels aggressive.
Yeah.
The Lions at 7 feels aggressive. I mean, I almost think that you got to put the Jets and the Ravens and the Chargers and the Seahawks need to go way up from where they currently are. That's too high. And I think the Lions had an opportunity to really improve coming out of this draft, and I
Yep.
don't think that they necessarily took advantage of it.
Next.
And the Jameson
Higher
Williams.
or lower?
Jameson Williams suspension, I think, hurts them a
He's
lot.
down 6 games, man.
Six
It's a big
games.
deal.
Yep.
Cowboys 8, as Mr. Bishop mentioned. The New York Football Giants at number 10. Zagura takes us to the New York Football Jets and their quarterback officially, Aaron Rodgers. Higher, lower, or just right for the Football Jets?
I mean, I'd put them in the top 8, so I think they are better than this. And my rationale for it is simply this. Last year, if the Jets' offense scored exactly 21 points every game, I think they would have been 11-5-1. If they scored 24 points every game, they would have been 14-3.
Yeah.
Their D didn't get any worse.
No.
Their offense, in my opinion, got significantly better.
That's right.
So I think they're pretty formidable. I think they are a very worthy adversary. And right now, if you said, you got to go Jets against Jags, Jets against Lions, I'm taking the Jets in both of those games.
Bishop?
So they basically last year, their poo-poo platter of quarterbacks ended up with about 60% completions, basically touchdown to interception of 1-to-1 or thereabouts.
Yeah, that's not
so Rodgers last year in what is considered a down year for him was 65% completions, 3,700 yards, 26-12 with a rating of 91. Their total accumulated rating last year for their guys was around 70. So if he just is what he was last year, which wasn't great by his standards,
Yeah,
the
no
numbers.
worries. 2 years ago, now you got Garrett Wilson. You
Oh,
got
my gosh.
McCole Hardman. You've got
Yeah.
Corey Davis still. They bring in Lazard.
Brees Hall's still there.
And they
2
drafted
years ago,
another good running back.
2 years ago, he's 70%, 41, 37-4, a 111.9 rating.
37-4.
Yeah. No, I think
that's 9-1.
I think they are criminally underrated on this.
Yes.
I think they are absolutely a Super Bowl contender.
Yes.
I think you could put them all the way up at 6.
That's what I think.
Quite frankly, I think they should
You
be
could put them at
behind-
5 right now, honestly.
You could put them behind. To me, I'd have them the 4th best team in the AFC behind Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo.
Yeah, I think that the fact
they might be better than Buffalo.
The fact that these rankings have 4 teams in the NFC in the top 8 is crazy.
Yeah,
to
that's
me.
nonsense.
Next.
Higher or lower?
The Ratbirds are number 11, the Chargers 12, and it takes us to number 13, and the Pukers. Bishop, higher, lower, or just right?
They had a great draft. But
They
they
still have Kenny Pickett.
They
as
are
their quarterback.
tied to Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't anything personal. I just think in a conference where you have elite quarterback play everywhere, he is not elite. He is not an elevator of your football team. He is an enabler at best. How you can have them ahead of other teams, including us, frankly, who have elevators at quarterback is a tough sell to me. I think Pittsburgh has got to come back. Not a whole lot. They're still real. I mean, they were a playoff team last year, so you can't disrespect them too much. But they should be somewhere around 16, something like that. They got to come down a little.
Totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I think that I like us better than the Steelers. We've got to prove it. I like the Dolphins better than the Steelers. I like the Seahawks better than the Steelers. I think the Broncos this year are going to be significantly improved. You had Mims to Judy and Sutton with Russ and Sean Payton. I think that, yeah, they are too high. If they end up there, it will be a big upset, and it will just mean that the AFC North is so loaded. I have no problem with them being 16 if we were like 15, but we'll see. It's clear that division, you look at the rankings, I mean, our division is absurd.
Yeah. Next.
Higher or lower?
This one for you, Poisel. 14, Seattle. 15, Minnesota. 16, Carolina. As we talked about, number 17, the Miami Dolphins. Higher, lower, or just right, Poisel?
Yeah, I think they deserve to be higher, better on this list. But it all comes down to just, if Tua stays healthy. But if Tua is healthy, then I think this is a team that has a chance to kind of crack the top 10 again, like they were doing the first month or two of last year. But as of right now, I think I'd probably put them in like the 13, 14, 15, 16 range. 17 is too much.
Bishop?
Well,
where would you slot them?
I would put them. I mean, I would do this whole thing's all screwed up. Like, I think Miami's better than the Lions. I think Miami's better than Jacksonville right now.
They're better than
I think
the
they're better
Giants.
than the Giants right now.
Yeah.
So, like, they're better than the Steelers. I mean, right now, Tua's healthy, so you have to go off of that. I'm not going to do something crazy like Poisel did last December and put him ahead of the Bengals, but I'm going to have them somewhere around 10. I mean, they have to be. And so they're they're criminally too low. Right now, he's healthy. You have to judge him on what they are right now.
Yes.
If he gets hurt, well, then that's you blew it, boy, as big as you can be, because the rest of the roster is incredible.
All right, final one.
Higher or lower?
Just going through a couple of these others. Finally, a power ranking that recognizes that the Patriots are not good.
Yeah,
and they
I've
put
seen
them
them
at
like
22.
13
Correct.
on a bunch. I'm like,
some
what
of
are
these
you
power
talking
rankings.
about?
Because everybody loves Bill. And they just assume Bill Belichick, they should be in the top 15 of any league.
I mean, who are their skill players?
A few other notables. The Titans fall to 27.
Yes.
The final four
Somebody's got to be
are
better.
the Rams 29, the Raiders 30, the Cardinals 31, and it takes us to 32. Poisel, our guest of honor, the Indianapolis Colts at number 32. Should they be higher, or are they just right?
I don't think they deserve to be 32. I think this is just Paul Domowitch here is not very high on Anthony Richardson, which is fine. There's a lot of people that aren't high on him, but I see the Cardinals as the worst team in the league right now, and I think you could say the Colts until we see that Anthony Richardson is able to, win games in the NFL. I think, they slot probably around like 28, 29. I'd put the Raiders, maybe even the Texans behind them still. But we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty as far as how high, Anthony Richardson is going to be able to play as a rookie, and I think just based on this list, it suggests that the person who put this together is not very high on him.
Bishop?
The Bucks should be down here.
Yep.
The Texans should be down here. The Cardinals should be down here. The Commies' defense might be too good to keep them from being down there.
I don't know why the Raiders are 30th.
I agree with Jimmy G. They're going to win some games.
Yeah, and I think the one that's a real wild card here is the Rams at 29. Like, if Stafford, Donald, Kupp, if they all play, are they really going to be 5-12? I don't see that.
I don't think so.
It doesn't add up to me. So they'll be. Plus, they play in a weaker division, so I think they need to come up. But I think the worst teams in football are the Texans, the Cardinals, and the Bucks.
I think the Cardinals want to be the worst team in football. I think the Colts will be better than people think they are because with Gardner Minshew, they're going to be capable of winning some games. I think that's,
for sure.
I think that's an upgraded quarterback for them relative to what they've had with Wentz and what they had with Matt Ryan last year. I think the Falcons are absurdly high on this list at 23.
I agree.
And now maybe they do go out and win some games with Bijan, and I think that's possible, but they're not, like I said, a serious threat. One thing that I've noticed, too, from looking at this great thing, am I seeing this correctly, but do the Eagles have the only left-looking mascot in the NFL?
Boy, I think you're right. Not only left-looking, but even all the ones that are letters, the letters look right.
Everything does, except
everything. San Francisco straight on, the Giants, Jets, Dallas, Steelers. Well, no, we're looking left. Bears. No, Bears isn't. Raiders and Colts. All the rest look right.
Everything's either straight or right except for the Eagles.
That was an easier way to say what I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I liked it. We got there.
Good job out of you, AP.
Great job, AP.
We'll see you on down the road, bud.
Love the fireside chat.
Oh, that's great. We'll have to have you. We'll have to have you here.
So much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Got about a minute and a half. You're up.
All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily from the undisclosed location.
The fireplace does look spectacular.
Of course it does.
And it gives off some heat, as Nathan said earlier. As Nate said earlier.
How quickly can we get smoking jackets and ascots?
Very. I would like some if somebody out there has it in their abilities, and I would be happy to compensate said person. Like a brown smoking jacket would be pretty sweet if we could have one of those.
I feel like we don't understand.
1 minute.
What about those jackets were right outside our studio?
The old alumni blazers?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen those.
I couldn't fit in any of them. I tried.
They're huge?
Really?
No, they were too small. There was one that was like
brag.
5 times too big. Tall. I'm taller than the coat called for.
So those were like alumni jackets out there?
Must have been DBs, baby.
I never realized that. I never looked at that. Whatever happened to all that stuff?
It's in our studio now.
Oh, okay.
30.
You think we could sneak back in and see what we got?
Yeah.
See what we're working with? Maybe we will. No, we need like the real smoking jackets, like the hef.
Yeah, what I'm thinking of is maybe like
a nice velour.
Like an orange velour with a
like
brown
now you're talking.
Satin lapel.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Next Level's coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.